Welcome, everybody. We are the Inland Area Kwanzaa Group, and this is Nguzo Saba 365. This is our second Nguzo 365 study group session for this Black History Month 2023, but it's really our first session and the start of our 1 hour presentation and community discussion format, where we will engage a topic relevant to the Black community that relates to the Nguzo Saba or the 7 principles in some way. We are linking tonight's presentation with the theme of our 56th anniversary Kwanzaa event this past December, where we focused on the principle Nia, purpose, and its call for us to develop our communities and restore our people to our traditional greatness. Tonight's presentation is definitely consistent with an effort to develop our community and restore our people to their traditional greatness, because it's a deep look at the limits to which we can develop our children and what it takes to develop our children to the highest level. It's a discussion about Black child prodigies. And to link that, we're linking that, of course, with Nia, but I also want to link that with some of the deeper teachings from Dr. Karanga and out of our history. You know, we're talking about Black History Month. In his book, Mott, the Moral Ideal in Ancient Egypt, Dr. Karanga is regarded as the world leading authority on ancient Egyptian ethics. And this book right here is a primary reason for that. I could talk more about that later. But in this book, it talks about the ancient African, ancient Kemetic, ancient Egyptian teaching about the perfectibility of the human person. And that I'm linking that to the conversation about child prodigies, because I see that as an applied example of perfection, right? Beginning from, you know, the earliest stage. It also talks about the teachability of humans. And of course, any active effort to develop genius in our children is an act of teaching. And that's all consistent with the broader discussion in Mottian ethics about developing ourselves, mastering ourselves, becoming a Geruma type person, somebody who is self-mastered. And one who is self-mastered has the equivalent of all of the teachings in that respect. It's also, of course, linked to the Kemetic notion of the divine human. The African people, these people were the first to introduce the concept of human beings as a divine image of God. I could go into that in detail, but there's a link between perfecting ourselves as human beings and achieving a godlike status, you know, becoming godlike in that sense. So I see all of that as being linked in a meaningful way to this conversation that we're going to have tonight about Black child prodigies. And I'm thankful to have Akhir Rashad making this presentation tonight. He's a talented young brother who's familiar with Black child prodigies, you know, directly. He grew up around a few of them, you know, a couple of them. His brother regarded as a prodigy. I even think of Akhir in some respects as a prodigy on the technical side of things. He just released a video game. I think it's his second or third one for that matter. But nevertheless, one of the most intelligent, mature young brothers I've ever encountered, and thankful to have him here. Was inspired when he offered to do this first presentation on Black child prodigies. And I'm looking forward to what he has prepared to share with us today. So with no further ado, I'm thankful to have the opportunity to introduce to you all Brother Akhir Rashad, who's going to talk to us tonight about the process of developing Black child prodigies and answer the question whether they're born or whether they can be made. Brother Akhir? Unmute yourself, brother.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the introduction, and I'm excited about tonight's discussion. I'm trying to log in from a second device to be able to show my slideshow presentation, but I can start off by just doing an introduction of who I am. It's making me, for the slideshow, it's making me register again. I'm not sure if that is intentional or how to get around it. But I'll start by saying my name's Akhir Rashad. I'm a 23-year-old self-taught software developer. I make video games and websites. And I don't have a background or history in education. However, I am a father who's just interested in giving my child the best foundation that I possibly can for life. And one of the best things you can have in life, I believe, is a solid knowledge base, because knowledge is power. But I don't think that's the only case. I think that knowledge is actually freedom. It gives you opportunities that you would not have otherwise, and it makes life, or so many different aspects of life, easier they would be, or even than they would be, or what it expands the realms of what is possible. Nevertheless, with that being said, this discussion is worth diving and looking deeper into. And all of the topics that I shared tonight, I hope I can get in contact with somebody who does have a formal education in pedagogy, and expand on to make a course that can help people in our community, that being the parents and the children. Because this information that I have is largely anecdotal. This is from my own, my own research. But everything that I've read, I've actually tried with my own child, and I have some type of evidence to show that the things that I'm reading can actually be experienced in a very short amount of time. Because I don't have a history in education, just by reading this information and going off of just a whim that, hey, maybe this is possible, that genius is something that can be trained over time. It is not limited to just genetics, in my own child. So I'll start by sharing a list of Black child prodigies that are contemporary. So what I've noticed usually is when I'm looking for information on prodigies, you'll see a lot of information on children from the early 1900s. But what I want to do now is talk about people that are actually active right now. These are some of the people that I'll speak about today are still children, and you can see their progress in real time. The first person that I'll talk about is, his name is Caleb Anderson.
Hold on. Let me ask you, because we want to see your images. Did you log in through the other device, or are you still doing that? You could take a minute and do that.
I'm logged in on the second device. I'm just trying to, every time I click the link, it's giving me
just enter the meeting, just log in with the meeting ID and the password.
Okay. Let me find it.
You know, if you make him co-host, maybe he could share the screen and do it that way.
Well, he's on his phone now, and he's trying to connect on his computer so he can share his presentation.
Yes.
So I'll make you co-host as soon as you log in.
Okay, thank you very much. That actually, that worked that I wanted it to.
Okay, not just let you in.
Great.
And let me make you a co-host so you can now you can share your screen. Or hold on, I'll make sure I may have made the wrong one co-host. Let me change that.
Apologize if I came with the same name. All right.
Okay, you have to give up host on your phone. I made you host on the wrong device.
And how do I do that? Just click in the settings.
Just click, yeah. I should be able to take it back. I'm surprised I can't take it back.
All right, I just don't know how to I'll accept Mr. Bill. How do I get, I'm not sure how to give up my hosting rights.
Let me see. Click on my name and say make host.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, there I go. And then I'll make you host on your computer. So now you.
I apologize. I'm looking up. That's just the way that my setup is. Got it in the meeting now.
So you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. see.
All right.
Okay.
We can see it.
Okay. All right, perfect. So let me go ahead and first click here. This is the first thing I spoke about. That's not it. Okay, so I will now tell you about notable Black prodigies. These are people that are who are actively children or fresh out of childhood. I think everyone here under this list is still under the age of 21. So the first person that I'll share with you is Caleb Anderson. And he was honestly the first person that I saw online that piqued my interest in child geniuses. I was 12 years old when I came across this video of this little Black boy, and they said Caleb Anderson, I believe it says 1-year-old brilliant genius, and he can read. So I will show you quickly a video of him reading, and this was the first experience that I had seeing a child prodigy. So it says 1-year-old reading on a first grade level. I have a separate screen here. This is Caleb Anderson. He's absolutely wonderful. If you have any problem hearing the audio, please let me know. But here we go.
Okay, let's make up some word. Okay, Kayla, what does this say? What word? What sound does this make?
I can hear his mother, but I can't hear him.
He has a high-pitched voice. Can you hear him now?
And what does this say?
Uh-uh.
That's right.
It's like when he goes to talk, the sound goes out.
Okay. So what I'm thinking in that case is that it's because of the frequency of his voice and how high it is, that Zoom is trying to correct the background noise, and they probably think that his voice is background noise.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, I will leave this video and just show where he is now. Caleb Anderson's 13 years old, and he is in his senior year of university. He's getting his degree in mechanical engineering from. I'm sorry, that I didn't expect for that not to work.
Georgia Tech.
Okay. So hopefully this is his first he will be finishing senior year this upcoming school year.
All right.
It doesn't have sound.
Okay.
This is a bandwidth issue, but continue.
Okay. All right. So in that case, I'll just talk about.
Yeah, pause the video though.
Yes. So I'll continue.
Can I help him out with the sound? When you split the screen, did you click the bottom left that says sound?
No,
No.
this is a bandwidth issue. I'm getting sound, but because this is high definition video, it's trying to pump through more data than can be handled right now. So this is a bandwidth issue. So you're gonna have to pause your video for us to be able to hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is
You have to keep the video paused though, because we can't hear your voice when the video is running.
Okay. So the video continuously paused.
Okay, I'm hearing some sound.
Yeah.
Is it playing in another window or something?
No. But yeah. Is it Mr. Bill? Possibly.
Let me see. Let me have everybody else mute. Bill, could you mute?
No problem.
Okay. Now we're good.
Okay. So all right, that's kind of whack. So it's largely based off videos, but I'll continue to explain. So at the age of 12 months old, Caleb Anderson was able to notice and point out the different continents on the world map, not only the different continents, but individual countries as well. And this is a 12-month-old super genius.
What you should do, just show us a little bit of video and then, talk to us. You don't have to not show video. Just don't try to talk while you're showing the video.
Gotcha. I understand. So at 12 months old, he was able to 12 months old, he was able to point out the different countries on the world map, and he could read. He wasn't completely to the point of reading phonetically, but by the time he was 18 months old, he could read phonetically. So he can read the difference between words like mad and made. And that was a part of the video that I was showing, and hopefully I can continue showing the video. He was also capable of knowing he knew all of his colors and his shapes. When he was 2 years old, he was able to read the Declaration of Independence by himself without any help. Now he is on the course to become an astrophysicist or an aerospace engineer. He's very interested in space and space technology, and he said he has no other interests aside from the astronaut route. So let's see if I can, if you will continue to let me play the video. I won't talk at the same time.
He is getting a special reward for his hard work. TV host Steve Harvey stepping in to foot the bill for the tuition at the 12 ABC's Ellen Leslie joins us from Georgia Tech. Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning, Eva. Georgia Tech is looking at a potential new student, but unlike most of its recruits, this one might be on and off campus before he's even able to get his driver's license.
My name is Caleb Anderson, and I am a 12-year-old, and I am in college. This morning, TV host Steve Harvey and his foundation are offering to foot the bill for one gifted preteen. Harvey giving the offer
To not only pay the remaining semesters at Georgia Tech, but also at Georgia Tech to cover all the books, everything. So we are extremely grateful for that we do not have to pay that out of pocket.
He's just 12 and already a college sophomore.
Ever since I was born, I've had different life than other kids, and it was all different for me.
Before he took his first step, he was reading the Constitution of the United States.
At 6 months old, he was already reading. By 9 months old, he was already signing and reading. And then by 11 months old, he was reading words he's never seen before.
By the age of 10, as most kids his age were preparing for middle school.
Can you all hear the video?
I can hear it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
He
you.
was ready for college.
In middle school, it was no job. So boring. I went to college. I was able to challenge myself.
At 11, he enrolled as a freshman at Chattahoochee Technical College in Marietta, Georgia. Now, Caleb wants to continue his aerospace engineering studies at another college, Georgia Tech. And with Harvey's help, he'll be able to do just that.
So it's just thank you, Uncle Harvey. That's what we call him now, Uncle Harvey.
Here at Georgia Tech, to say they were happy.
So the next thing I'll say is he's absolutely brilliant, and it doesn't make any sense to me why he wasn't gifted a full ride scholarship. Can you hear me? It doesn't make any sense to me why he wasn't gifted a full ride scholarship, because he's extremely advanced, and in everything that he does, he's well spoken and he carries himself well. The next child prodigy that I'll talk about is David Bolligan, and he is
Caleb and his family, and they're always excited when young bright.
don't know why that was happening. David Bolligan. It shows that there's someone texted about joining in the meeting. Okay. David Bolligan is another child who's absolutely brilliant. He's 9 years old and he just graduated from he's 9 years old and he just graduated from high school. He was recently on Good Morning America with Neil deGrasse Tyson because he really looks up to him. And he is okay. I'm admitting new people into the meeting right now. Okay. Here he is with his younger sister. He's 9 years old and he graduated from high school already. He was recently on a conversation with the renowned astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he looks up to him a lot, and he says, "Hey, you know, I've always wanted to be an astrophysicist." He's another child prodigy who's extremely set in what he wants to do. He said there's no other option for him than to pursue astrophysics. Here's him with his 6-year-old sister, and when he was talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson, Tyson said, you know, when I knew I wanted to be an astrophysicist too, when I was 9 years old. The only difference was I was in 4th grade. He is so advanced that he was accomplishing over 3 years of study. Every year that he was doing 3 years of schoolwork. So it didn't take him very long before he was able to get out of school. His father is a psychiatrist, and they said when he was talking, he says, when speaking about his parents said that it's very important for him to be his own person and to do his own thing and pursue what he wants to. The next child prodigy, another one that has been extremely successful, he has his own book and everything, is Elijah J.D. Priestley. And he was a child who started his college career at 11 years old as well. The next one I'll talk about, because I'm running behind on time, is Carson Huey Yu, another Black boy who's brilliant. I didn't go over Cash Quest. Carson Huey Yu, I'll show you a picture of him. He is another child who's absolutely brilliant. He got his degree. He got his associate's degree at the age of 14. Not his associate's degree. He got his bachelor's degree at the age of 14 years old. And this is him with his younger brother and their mom. His mom said that she noticed that he was advanced by the age of 3 years old. So, but from the age of 3 to 5, she homeschooled him. And when he got age 5, he was old enough to go to kindergarten. And she tried to put him in a regular public school, and they said, "There's no way. This kid is too brilliant. He's too far ahead." So instead, she said, "Okay, well, maybe there's another option." And they allowed him to start going to high school. He had to choose a private high school, but from the age of 5, he started his high school career. And he finished out doing each year, 1 year at a time. But at the age of 10, he graduated from high school, and by the age of 14, here's him getting his bachelor's degree. And what's really nice about this is, I'll show you the next picture. 4 years after this, he is seen here at the age of 17. That was strange. Okay. Okay. At the age of 14, he got his bachelor's degree. And his younger brother, who's 3 years younger than him, is also in school pursuing his mechanical engineering degree. So there's 2 kids from the same family that their mom noticed that, you know, they're advanced, so she took it upon herself to teach them more. And because of that, they were able to accomplish great things. And she said she didn't think that her younger son was as advanced as the older one. So she tried to put him in kindergarten as well, tried to start him again, school regularly. But he was so driven that he also had to go through a similar path as his older brother. Now, as you notice, the people that I've spoken about now are so far have all been boys. So I'd like to show you all Cash Quest. She's the youngest member of Mensa, the Genius or High IQ Society. And here she is with her mom, just showing off the knowledge that she has. I see. Here we go.
She was just 2 years old when she became the youngest U.S. member of Mensa, the world's largest and oldest IQ society. Point of reference, the average American IQ is 98. Hers is 146. Please welcome Cash Quest and her mom, Sue.
Cash Quest.
Don't say never.
Ever.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As a mom, I think everybody's like yelling. When he had kids, he was like, my daughters are geniuses.
Yeah.
How did you know that you actually had your hands on one? Aren't you in child development?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I mean, just like any parent, like you mentioned, I think we all have that parental bias of our child is gifted. And, you know, we started working with her really young. And when she was able to start picking up things like when we were reading her books and just making connections into real life action, like moon, we were reading her that. And, you know, we explained to her what a crescent moon was. And then the next day she was out in the car pointing up to the sky like, oh, look, mommy and daddy, there's a crescent moon. So, she was picking up things really fast. And, you know, we started noticing things early on. And by 18 months, she had mastered her alphabet, phonics, letters, sounds, shapes, colors. She was starting puzzles. And, I mean, she was working on this before. And at her 18-month checkup is when we actually, you know, talked to the pediatrician. And she was like, keep documenting and let's see where this kind of goes. And was the one that urged us to possibly get her
So
tested.
what has she taught you?
I think a lot of things. Patience for one.
Yes, right.
Patience for anyone. And the funny thing is she's our only child. And so this is all we kind of know.
Right.
And we're going with that. And I think overall between all three of us, including her father, we've learned how to communicate with her and how to appropriately communicate with her. So the typical because I said so or because I'm mom or
That's not a good answer for somebody
it
with
doesn't
a
work for her
146.
because she needs more logical reasoning and she's able to then, if a situation applies to her, reverse use that towards us. And so
She's drinking.
she holds you accountable very much.
So we have this beautiful little girl right here. And at 2 years and 11 months old, she was the youngest American member of the Mensa Society. So yeah, she's the girl that I have on my list, but she's also the youngest person to be able to join this high IQ society. She was at this age that you see here, she's under the age of 3. She knew all of the 50 states and capitals of the United States of America, and she knew and memorized the entire periodic table of elements. That's of course, it seems like a large accomplishment when you say it, but knowing how to read and knowing her phonics and letters and alphabet and shapes and all these different things, she really went above and beyond with her learning. When her mom couldn't find a school that was suitable for her, her mom stepped up and then made her own preschool so that she can not only teach her daughter but other students as well. So, sorry, I'm really bad at my time management. The next thing I'll talk about is can genes be taught? I'll teach you really quickly about Laszlo Polgar. I spoke about him a little bit before, but he was a Hungarian psychiatrist, and he had the belief that a parent could teach their child to be a genius. He thought that it could be something that's taught. It doesn't have to be strictly genetic. And he found a wife that had the same idea as him, and they had 3 daughters together. Here's a picture of their 3 daughters, and he raised all 3 of his daughters to be chess champions. And if you follow chess, you will know these girls. They're absolutely wonderful. They're women now. The oldest one is in her 50s. But you got Susan.
Where are you going all gussied up?
Sophia and Judith. Judith Polgar right here, this youngest one, she's the greatest female chess player of all time. It's undisputed. It's not even close. And her older sister, if her older sister was still playing right now, she'd be ranked #2 in the world. The middle child was a great chess player, but she's the only one of the three who didn't achieve grandmaster status. They trained 6 hours a day, and their dad really believed that just from training and being consistent, that they could achieve wonderful things. They all did. They made great money. They each of them speak at least 6 different languages, and their dad worked really hard with their mom to make sure that they were able to have a good life. Judith Polgar broke the, and this is not a Black person here, but it's really important, his teachings that he had, because he wrote a book called Raise Your Child to Genius. And it's what I like about it is it's an exclamation point. He's making a statement, raise your child to genius. And this book was written in 1987. It was not translated into English until 2017, when a podcaster paid to have it translated into English. And it's so interesting to me that for 30 years, this information was out there, but it wasn't that widespread, especially because in our lifetimes, we were able to see the work that he did and how it was able to affect his children. So the next thing that I will show is Dr. Shabazz. So Dr. Shabazz is my mom, as Ismail said. My oldest brother, as Suja said, my oldest brother Ismail is a genius. My mom was a young mom, and she thought that it was really important for her to make sure that she was smart enough to teach her son things. So before he was born, she went to the library and bought books to teach him what she needed to know. She said that her favorite book to teach was she said her favorite book, the one that she thinks was most impactful, is Raise Your Child to Have a Superior Mind. This book is still able to be purchased now. And I'll show you what the cover of that looks like. Give your child a superior mind. Here it is. And she said that she wrote all the things down from age 0 to 3 on index cards, and she worked on that with him. My brother was extremely advanced. When he was 6 years old, he went and got his IQ tested. And you're not allowed to, I'm not sure if it's still this way, but at the time you were not able to have a Black child IQ tested because of the racial biases in the test. So when he was tested, they tested him over the course of several days, and then at a certain point they told him that he could stop whenever he was ready. So when he said that he would stop and he was done taking the test, his IQ was ranked in at 147, which is over 3 standard deviations above average. So very much genius. He was advanced all through school, and when he was 9 years old, he said that he wanted to learn how to do algebra and programming. So his teacher helped him by getting a computer for the classroom at a time when computers weren't very common, and making an early investment in him. And sure enough, he did that. He learned algebra and he learned how to program. And when he was 10 or 11 years old, he started taking classes at East Los Angeles Community College, and that's where he took his first adult college classes when he was 11 years old, and he took programming and algebra. He got invited to take a UCLA entrance exam for gifted children, and when he took the exam, he didn't score high enough to get accepted into UCLA full time, but they offered him the summer program. My mom said, "Oh, I don't want you to just go for summer," so she took that acceptance letter and took him to the local community college, and they accepted him. So that was a time when concurrent enrollment wasn't even a thing; it wasn't thought of. But he was able to get his associate's degree by age 16, and that has allowed him to have a really become really successful in what he does. He's a programmer now. He has over 20 years experience as a network engineer, and he does big things. He does really big things, and it's really important for us to have more Black people in STEM technology, and it's nice to know that I have someone in my own family who's done this before I was born. However, because this is before I was born, he's 21 years older than me. It was kind of like hearsay. It was just like, is that folklore? So when I had my child, Nabi Akins, I said, with this information I have from all these different places, let me see if I can make this a reality, if I can do it myself. So from the age,
try to work in, if you got a clean 10 minutes and a little bit more if you need it.
Got you. I understand. So I'll start showing my my pictures here, I'll start showing Anabia Kenza. Now, this is the thing that I would say that I'm most passionate about in my life is my daughter, and not just to be all cutesy and, you know, of course I'm a happy father, but she, every time I had this idea, you know, I want to raise my child to have a superior mind. People said, Akhir, don't put false expectations on her. Just, you know, just love your child. And of course, I love my child regardless. But I said, well, what if, you know, what if I could really do this? People talk about it. And what if it's not just a matter of saying it? This is something that's real. And because of that, I stuck with this idea and I made it happen. So let me show you a picture of Nabia Kinsley when she's younger. My slideshow is acting very glitchy right now, and that's why I'm showing individual pictures. But let's see, she was born in May of 2021, making her 20 months old right now. So let me show you this picture. Here is Anabia Kenza and I when she was first born. So here we go. This is me in the hospital with my baby. She's first born right here. And within the first hour of her being born, I read her first physics article. And I remember the nurse looking at me and saying, I have never in my life seen this. She's seen a lot of babies be born. But I said, you know, well, if they got this genius idea, what if I actually do it? You know, I can't have no half step, right? So I did that. I read her first physics article, and everybody looked at me like I was absolutely insane, but that's okay. You're going to be, if you're doing something new, right? It's going to be seen as crazy. But I did that. Another thing that I read was that in a child's development, within 3 hours of them being born, a child can distinguish the difference between languages. Now, they don't have the same concept as we do, but they can, at 3 hours old, a child knows the difference between the voices or the language they heard when they were in their mother's stomach or belly and the language that they're hearing outside. So I said, oh, is this true? So at 6 hours old, let me show you my updated picture here. Anabia Kenza and I were listening to Julio Iglesias' greatest hits. And now and it's funny because you can see my wife in the background there. She was kind of tired of me already. And we're sitting there listening to music and having a good time. So for the first 90 days of her life, I played Spanish music for her and Spanish cartoons nonstop. Not that she could actually see the cartoons, but just to get it in her head, like, hey, we're hearing different things right now. And one of the most impressive things that I heard is that children that are bilingual, that are bilingual from birth, when they see like optical illusions, you know, those optical illusions where you see, like, oh, is that a rabbit or is it a horse? And it switches back and forth the longer you look at it. Children who are bilingual can do that significantly faster. So I said, okay, well, let me do this. I don't speak Spanish myself, but I took some introduction to Spanish classes. So I did that. It was nonstop. The first 90 days for life was continuous stimulation by either us talking or just hearing things. And my method was, I'm going to talk to her, not like a baby, but as if she's an old man, right? So imagine an 80-year-old man who needs an update on the latest technology. So if I'm an 80-year-old man, I'm not going to disrespect him and talk like a baby. I'm not going to use baby talk. I'm going to talk to him with respect, and I'll speak slowly and clearly so he can understand what I'm saying. So that was my approach. And there's nothing that made me feel crazier than talking to a baby that couldn't even hold their head up at all and would constantly fall asleep on me, but I continued doing it. And sure enough, at 4 months old, Kenza, there was a change, right? Where now it wasn't like I was just talking to a person that couldn't talk back to me. She couldn't speak at all, but she would lock eye contact with me. And whatever I said, she would listen. So this is at 4 months old. At 4 months old, she's not physically advanced, but she was able to hold herself up. She was able to, like, if you hold her, you don't have to hold her back. She's not going to fall. She's sitting there scanning, right? And they say at a year old, or I believe it was a year old, that a kid should be able to track a moving object without moving their head. At 6 months old, Kenza was doing that. She knew how to track things. And I thought that was very interesting. But then again, you know, she's still a baby. She can't talk. And people say, Akhir, you're crazy. Why are you talking to this baby? So I'll share with you what my daily routine was with her. And I did this since she was under a week old. I would wake up in the morning and I say, okay, good morning, Kenza. I would sing the ABCs in English and in Spanish. I would sing the days of the week in English and Spanish, the months of the year in English and Spanish. I would do the days, I would count to 100 in English. And then we would, sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Now, the biggest thing I learned from this is that with being consistent, there's progress. Every single day that I woke up at 7 o'clock, not woke up at 7 o'clock, but every single day at 7 o'clock when she woke up and I said, hey, well, let me go ahead and do this to her. I was like, am I actually losing my mind? Am I crazy? Everyone else said it. I'm looking at this baby who can't talk. But nevertheless, I kept going. Now, I'd like to show you this picture. And now I'll start showing you some of the progress that I've seen over the months in which I've been teaching her. Okay. And I know my time's almost up, so I'm going to finish out with this, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. So, where's my images of my baby? Okay, here we go. I know exactly where to find it. Okay, so this was when she was 6 weeks old. You can see here, this is Anabi Akinza in her learning setup. Now, why did I have her in this high chair? I don't know. It was unnecessary. This right here is a nursing book because my sister was in nursing school. So I said, hey, maybe I can use some information that she can learn it. But what I did learn is that babies, sleeping on your pillow to learn stuff doesn't work. It actually takes hard work. So we kept doing that. In fact, this book right here is one of her favorite books now. The Aerospace Baby Learns Aerospace Engineering. And what I like about this book is it shows a little bird in there. It's talking about, does a bird have engines? How does a bird use its wings to fly? And that was one of the first words that she learned. So when she was 10 months old, she said, oh, bird. But she had never even seen a bird before in real life. So this is Nabi Kenza here. And now let me show some of the progress that she made with her learning. So let's see here. Yeah, show it to me. Okay. All right. So for the first 10 months, we taught her Spanish. But then at 10 months old, we switched and started teaching her Mandarin Chinese because that's a significantly more difficult language to learn. And I didn't know it at all. I had no experience with it. But we went full in, my wife and I, and here's some of the progress that we've seen with her in her Chinese development. I'm going a little out of order here, but here we go. This is Kinza counting to 10 in Mandarin. And as you can tell, this is at 18 months old. You can tell that when I speak to her, she fully understands what I'm saying. So before I spoke to her, I said, hey, can you count? And then now I say, hey, can you count louder? And sure enough, here she is doing it. You get the camera, say cheese, can you smile? Okay. Okay. Can I ask you a question? Okay. Can you count to 10 in Mandarin? Shoot. Good job. Can you say it louder? Do you want to say it louder, Kinza? Okay. You want to eat? Okay, can you count to 10 in Mandarin, but can you count loud? Okay. Okay, so that was her that's her at 16 months. I want to quickly show a couple more videos and then I'm done. Just to show that this has worked. Like I said, this is anecdotal. I don't have any formal education in this, but I've noticed that. Sorry, how can I mute this? I'm not. Okay. And I just want to show that when this stuff has worked, it's just being consistent. I'm not some type of super genius myself. I don't have any education in this, but just by talking to my daughter and having a wife that will spend the time doing doing little songs and dances and making fools of ourselves, we've been able to see extreme advancement in her. Here's her at 16 months old doing flashcards. What's this one? It is a bear. Good job, Kinza. What's this one? It is a ball. Good job. Okay. What's this one? Good job. Be surprised if you know this one. Kinza, what is this? Sit out. Yes, good job. What's this one, Kinza? It is a car. Good job. What's this one, Kinza? You know this one? A tree? No, this is broccoli. Good job, Kinza. What? So my hand was dry this whole time. What are they doing? Okay, so this is 16 months old, and I'll show one more video of her at 16 months old, and this is her counting. So Kinza can count, and this is her counting to 20. She has the hiccups. All right, count to 20, Kinza. Go ahead. Good job. Skip some numbers there, baby. I'm gonna help you, okay? That's it. So I know I'm out of time now. She knows her planets. She can tell you every planet in the solar system. And right now she's only 20 months old. She's shown a huge amount of progress between the ages of 12 months and 18 months. And she didn't even start walking until she was 14 months old. And they call that asynchronous development. So she has this brilliant brain, but then she has this little baby body, which is crazy because she couldn't do things like walk. She couldn't walk. But she's extremely independent, and I'll stop in the next minute. She's extremely independent. We taught her that from an early age. So at 10 months old, she had the understanding that with 10 months old, she could climb 17 stairs by herself. At 11 months old, she could climb down 17 stairs by herself. Kinza is very tough, and we teach her that you can do anything that you want to by yourself. And if you need help, I got you. But if you don't, she's not even gonna let you baby her. She's the most adult baby I've ever met before. And I see this video's over here looping. So here we go. This is her singing La 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 by the Delphines. And then this is the last thing I'll talk about. Okay, that's my time. Sorry that the way that everything was structured, I have a lot of information.
No apologies necessary. I'm gonna cut you off there because you don't need to apologize. Thank you for sharing that info with us, but let's give Akhir a hand for that. And thank you not only for sharing the info, but for being an example of a proud Black father. We very much appreciate seeing that. Stop sharing your screen and turn the posting back over to me if you would. Brother Bill, could you mute? Unless you were speaking. If you were going to speak, go right ahead.
Thank you very much.
All right. Let's see. I want to take the opportunity in the few minutes that we have here remaining, give anybody in the audience who might have a follow-up question or comment the opportunity to share that. So anybody, let's see, if it was more people, I would say to raise your hand, but if somebody wants to make a comment or ask a question, go right ahead.
Yeah, I have a comment and a question, if I may. First of all, Akhir, I so appreciate that presentation. The information is critical and so important because it reveals the potential that that the future holds. Here's my question. What is your plan to make sure that your daughter continues this this pace of growth into her adolescence?
Thank you. That was a great question. And what I've learned from the last 2 years of just talking to people, especially parents who have put a lot into their children, is that the most important thing that I can possibly do to keep her interested is to do it myself. She's not going to value education or learning at all if she doesn't see that I'm going to grind and do it every day. I'm not asking her to do anything that she doesn't see me do. So if she spends her day doing learning Chinese, I spend my day learning Chinese. And I have friends that I speak to. And that's really difficult for me because I'm not a baby and can just take in the information. But I'm going to do that grueling, that rigorous work that's necessary. So she sees me work every day and she sees her mom work every day. So she knows that it's not even work. This is just what we do. And I try to make it as fun as possible because if there's a distinction between work and play, then she's going to hate working and she's only going to like playing. But for us, we have fun by learning.
Can I ask a follow-up real quick?
Absolutely.
It has to do with your shirt. One, is that the same shirt you were wearing when she was born? Because it looked like it. And two, can you explain the symbolism of it?
That is a absolutely wonderful question. Oh, I'm not muted. Okay, great. So yes, this shirt is not the exact same one that I was wearing, but this is from the same shirt release that I was doing. I made t-shirts. I have a clothing brand called New Nubian. And the idea of New Nubian is to take all of this stuff that young Black people are going through and all the horrible things we're seeing on social media and our personal experiences and turn it into something positive. Don't let that consume us. So these are Adinkra symbols here. Maybe I have here we go. I have a larger poster here. The first Adinkra symbol on my shirt that's in this column is the Adinkra symbol for knowledge. The second Adinkra symbol that you can see here is the one for time. This says time changes, but this is the one for time. And the third one is for versatility. And I believe that with knowledge, time, and versatility, you can accomplish anything, and that's the way to do it. So this idea of making my daughter knowledgeable, if I'm versatile, and I take the time every single day, we're taking time in teaching her, and I'm versatile. So if no matter how the day goes, if I have a day and I don't get to teach her something until 11 p.m., we're gonna get it done. So I think those three things are necessary, and I wear these symbols to remind people that this is what it takes to become successful.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. I wonder if anybody's going to challenge me on my assessment of Akhir. I said he's one of the most intelligent, most mature young brothers that I've had the opportunity to be around. Is anybody going to challenge me on that, or did he prove himself in that way? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we are coming up on the last few minutes. Do we have any other questions? We got time for maybe one more question.
I have a comment.
A comment? Go right ahead, Dr. J.
I think he is wonderful. And I'm looking at him and he reminds me of Chadwick Boseman. And yeah. And what you're doing with your baby is wonderful. And many of us have children who are capable, but unfortunately, we get caught up in life and we don't realize just how powerful teaching our own children are. The fact that your baby can do the things that she can do at such a young age tells you that we're not, you know what, our children are geniuses if we allow them to show what they know and if we teach them. And by the third grade, we have to guard them, because by the third grade, this American education system will place them in a box. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it, keep pushing. And I'm just in awe of you already, so I can only imagine what your child will do.
That's outstanding.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy. Yeah, that makes me the words that you said. And yeah, I know she's so much smarter than me. And I don't say that to put myself down. So I work hard, but I think the difference between that, I put everything I have behind her, and it's interesting to see how fast she progresses with things because I'll learn something at the same time as her. And I realize, like, wait, you're not even 2 yet. So when she gets to a point where she's actually in school, I know she's gonna ask me questions that I can't answer. So that's my that pushing that start, and then from there get her the resources to continue what she's doing. Because I don't want to be the person to hold her back.
The lesson that the latent lesson here is that there is a role, a primary role, and nobody would have disputed this, but you've given it to us more in real time, that there is a distinct role for a parent of a child prodigy, you know, to develop that. And it takes some active development on a parent's part, some active role on a parent's part in order for that type of creativity and genius to be realized, especially at such an early age. And as we're seeing here in this after discussion, to develop that going forward. So with that, we want to be time certain in our gathering. We wrapping up here. Before we go, I want to make sure to take the opportunity to thank everybody for coming out tonight and to invite you out again next week. We got another presentation coming up next week. Our good brother Chachi Wright is going to talk to us about economics and some of the things that we can do as lay people to get into a better financial situation for ourselves. This will not be a sales pitch of any sort. This is just going to be sharing good information for us about what it takes to continue developing ourselves and continuing on the path of restoring ourselves and our people to our traditional greatness. So I want to take the opportunity again to thank everybody for coming out and say, as I said last week, you don't have to go home. You might already be home, but we got to get up out of here. So we're going to go ahead and bounce off. And then for all of the members of the group, we're going to stay around for our after discussion, but we want to thank our guests for coming out and look forward to seeing you again on the next occasion. All right. All right. I'm not going to do that. And let's see. Sister Camilo, she's our guest. Let me see if I can ask her to unmute. Camille? I don't want to mispronounce the name. Camille Riva?